Jibril Fall here, the Interim Director of ADEPT. For those of you who know ADEPT, that's the Africa-Europe Diaspora Development Platform. This webinar specifically is being done in collaboration with the for Diaspora Finance program. And I think Onyekachi, Effiong, and Stella would explain further in details. But as we normally do this webinar, the approach is informal. And in the first part, I would speak and Haja would kindly translate in French. Can we just check whether there's any French speakers on?
Any French speaker who doesn't speak English? Because I know Jean-Léon and Kekeli, you both are French speakers, but you speak English. So is there any French speaker who doesn't speak English?
It appears that we're perhaps all of us are French
English speakers. Yes. Yes. So I think we can just do it in English then.
Okay. Yes. The first part of these webinars, one of the webinars, is for me as Interim Executive Director to just give an update of what happened in the past month relating to ADEPT, and for people to have the chance to ask any question or make any comments relating to ADEPT activities. So it's part of our engagement, our ongoing engagement program. So I'll quickly just give you the highlights of what happened in the past month. Perhaps the two more interesting things is the training of trainers event that we did in Eschborn, Germany, and the diaspora technical support that we did in Gambia. So to start with the training of trainers, in partnership with GIZ, ADEPT organized a 3-day accredited training for a pool of consultants that we've recruited. And some of you are aware that that recruitment took place last year. And we have now a pool, I think there are 20 people on the pool of consultants, mainly specializing in project development and project design and bid writing. And other members of the pool are consultants with specialism in migration and development. So this training of trainers was a form of induction for those consultants as well. And as I said, we did it with support and partnership with GIZ, and it was hosted by them at their offices in Eschborn, near Frankfurt in Germany. In addition to the pool of consultants who came from several countries, United Kingdom, France, Belgium, Germany, and from different African backgrounds, from Madagascar to Cameroon to Sudan. In addition to that pool, we also had local delegates, mainly African diaspora development organizations based in Germany, who selected people who were in a position to support not only their organizations but other African diaspora development organizations. It was a very intensive 3 days with a structured training as per the accredited rules, and people were then tasked to write bids and were also given the opportunity to make presentations, sort of pitches of their bids, and afterwards they submitted their written bids as well. So that in all help
Hello, Jibril, we're losing you.
That also helped us to. Yes, am I back with you?
Yes.
Hello? Okay, yes, it was, yeah. Yes, the exercise also helped us to be in a better position to make assignments in terms of when a consultancy opportunity comes up to make a better match between the opportunity and the individual consultants. So that's what took place in Frankfurt, in Eschborn, at the beginning of February. Then in terms of the services of ADEPT, the other area where there was lots of activity was around the diaspora technical support. And for those of you who don't know, ADEPT has piloted a diaspora technical support program, which is effectively technical assistance or technical cooperation, where partners in Africa, be it government or civil society, can request an African diaspora expert from ADEPT to help them on a particular assignment. We've already had those assignments going on in Ghana with the Ministry of Interior, in Ivory Coast with the Ministry of Ivorians Abroad, and we had one with the civil society in Gambia to do with tourism, ethical tourism. But some of you have also been following the news in Gambia. There has been sort of political change there. So we had the opportunity to give support to the new government. So the request came from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I myself had the privilege of being that diaspora expert to do the intervention and the support to the new government in Gambia. Because amongst other things, I'm also Gambian, so I know the territory quite well. What we did was an induction program for the new ministers. The new cabinet, only one person was served as a minister before, and that was 22 years ago. So we organized a full-day induction program based on making a link between good governance and operational excellence. That took place on the 11th of February on a Saturday, and that's followed up by one-to-one debriefs with the different cabinet ministers to help them identify what their reform priorities are. So we've given them a framework as to what should inform their decision-making for selecting their priority reform areas. And that one-to-one debriefing happened with 7 or 8 of the ministers whilst I was in Gambia. And in the next 2 weeks whilst I am back in London, I would continue with the rest of the team through telephone consultations. So apart from the training of trainers and the diaspora technical support, we've also been making steady progress on setting up an office in Belgium, and all of the legal and administrative paperwork in terms of hiring accountants in Belgium, hiring HR support in Belgium, and starting the planning for the first annual general meeting, or as in Belgium, as they would say, the General Assembly meeting, which is scheduled for June 2017, maybe 1 or 2 days before the European Development Days. So that is the third major area of activity. Beyond that, everything else have just gone as normal, with the collection of information on facts, on jobs, events, and funding, which most of you are on the mailing list for the newsletter. That has progressed as usual. And we've also been finalizing the job specifications for the new team that would be based in Belgium. We've now got all the feedback relating to the job specifications for executive director and for the other roles. And in fact, today I had one of the last conversations with Concord, who are helping us in terms of where to place the adverts and how to go about just the operational elements of the recruitment exercise. Haja, I think perhaps I should pause here for any comments or questions.
I will take questions after Onikache's presentation. So maybe now Onikache can start and then we'll take questions after. Would that be okay?
Yes.
Okay, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Onyekachi Wambu. I'm the Executive Director of Afford. And just following on Jibril's contribution, we have been, alongside technical support from the diaspora, we've been looking at other ways that the diaspora over the years can support our countries of heritage. One of the most important is really around how we structure our financial and other investment back into the countries of heritage, and it's really around this particular area that I want to talk about, and for the rest of the webinar we'll hear an example, a case study of one very successful attempt. But before we hear that case study, I wanted to first of all just talk about the general context behind this and look at some other initiatives that have encouraged diaspora investment and diaspora support for investment into Africa. In terms of Afford, last June we began a program which has been funded by Comic Relief and DFID and through UK Aid, that's DFID UK Aid, through the Common Ground Initiative, and it's been run by Afford, and it's called the Diaspora Finance Initiative. And the aim really ultimately has been to stimulate diaspora investment in order to create jobs and also enhance the African social economy. We've been looking at ways that through this initiative that we will support African diaspora entrepreneurs and others to address some of the following challenges and some of the challenges which they face in making the investments in their countries of heritage. The first is around access to capital and the high cost of borrowing. The second is on the lack of information or the scarcity of information about local markets in Africa. So when you're here and you're trying to make those structured investments, where are you going to get that really useful information that will enable you to make those investments work? Third is the limited business support that exists out there for transnational investments. It's very hard to raise money in the UK or in Europe to invest from the banks or other financial institutions to invest in countries of origin. And then it's very difficult if you're a member of the diaspora also to raise the money in the countries of heritage if you're based in Europe in the north. So what this program is seeking to do is to look at ways that again we can answer those challenges. The overall objectives are to encourage and enhance UK-based diaspora investments, to support small and medium-sized enterprises, to provide business development support to diaspora entrepreneurs, to enhance transnational networks that facilitate social impact of diaspora investments. And all of this will be taking place in 4 target countries: Nigeria, Rwanda, Sierra Leone and Zimbabwe. They are targeting, as I said, UK-based diaspora investments, but I'm aware that we're sharing this information across a much wider network, which is the ADEPT network as well, who are partnering with us for this webinar. And one thing I would say to our colleagues who are in the rest of Europe is that you can apply for these funds if you have a partner in the UK. So although it's for UK registered diaspora businesses, if you are in Europe and you have a partnership or work already with UK-based diaspora businesses in any one of those 4 countries, you will be eligible to enter this competition. We will explain a little bit more about the Diaspora Enterprise Accelerator. Effiong and Stella will go through in some detail all the different elements. This is merely just to give you that broader context about what we're trying to do. The key highlight is that we will ultimately improve understanding of diaspora finance and investment practices so that we foster positive and effective policy responses as well. And what we will be seeking to do through the Diaspora Accelerator competition is both to encourage and stimulate diaspora investment. We'll be offering up to £30,000 to as a grant to businesses in those 4 target countries: Nigeria, Rwanda, Sierra Leone, and Zimbabwe. And we expect that the businesses that will be invested in to provide a match fund of 7,500, so that we're looking overall at an investment of around £37,500. Of course, people can invest more if they have a project that where they have more money, but at a minimum that's what we would be putting in. It would support 20 businesses. And the areas for investment are very wide. It's agriculture, energy, health, education, WASH. So this is quite a broad area, but again, Stella and Effiong will go into more details about those areas. The final thing, just in terms of the Afford initiative, the Diaspora Finance initiative, is that we will also be looking at the ways that African diaspora funds, skills and philanthropy can be mobilized as part of this program and channeled to support the development of the social economy in Africa. So we'll be looking at launching, structuring a diaspora bond, which will facilitate investments in one of those target countries, and also launching an online diaspora philanthropy platform. So again, we hope later on, when some of these are up and running, that we can share progress with members of ADEPT, how that has been progressing. The final thing I just wanted to mention, that is not just Afford that is in this space of diaspora finance, and it's worth saying that, you know, it's something that I know ADEPT are committed to trying to, in the long run, set up a fund that will also help support and stimulate diaspora investment. But at the moment, another one of our partner organizations, Forim, who sit on the ADEPT board, already run a program called PRA OSIM, and that again seeks to work with the program. Actually, it's an acronym for the Support Program for International Immigration Solidarity, and it's a national support, co-financing, capitalization and development project for that supports immigrant and other diaspora organizations to do co-development projects in their countries of origin. It's been in operation since 2003, if you're not aware of it, but and initially was financed by the French Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Development, and since 2016 has been financed by the French Development Agency. So there are a number of initiatives, and we know that, as I said, ADEPT itself wants to really get into this area of developing a fund that can support the activities of its members, this whole area of diaspora finances we think is the future. It moves away from, I think, that emphasis that we used to have on aid, but here we're really focused on investment, job creation, and some of the other things that ultimately are much more impactful in terms of being sustainable, and also reducing the poverty.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Onikachi. Thank you, Jibril. So now I think we can take questions. So if anyone has a question regarding either ADEPT activities that Jibril has mentioned in the beginning, or anything regarding what Onikachi said about DFI or diaspora investment, feel free. Okay, Ben wants to ask a question. So Ben, I will unmute your mic. If there is too much noise, I will mute it back, and then you will just have to write your question. So if anyone else wants to ask a question and you don't have a working mic, you can just write your question in the chat box and I will read it. Up to you, Ben.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you, Haja. Thanks, Jibril, for your update on ADEPT in Europe. A quick one on the accredited consultants you spoke about earlier on. Is that going to be a one-off exercise, or is going to be an ongoing thing where when new consultants are identified and incorporated, you could provide such support for them? That's the first question. And yeah, so maybe I should get that clarity before I move on to Onikachi with some more specific details about the Diaspora Finance and Investment Program.
Okay, thanks, Ben. Yes, the aim is that the training of trainers will be an ongoing thing, because the topic specifically is on project design and bid writing. And we think, as we all know, whatever program you have in mind, either to raise equity investment or grant funds, you must write a business plan or a project plan. So it's fundamental. And we've done it as a training of trainers because we want to find the opportunity for those consultants to actually then do the training with many other African diaspora development organizations. So that's our plan. And since we've done it quite successfully with GIZ, we were speaking with them, hoping that perhaps we would be able to do this at least twice a year. So that's our plan. Thanks.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, thank you so much, Jibril, for that. Just to follow up on your diaspora technical support, I mean, it's a bit of an anathema in the continent of Africa for African leaders to sit tight. I mean, the scenario in Gambia was almost a repeat of what was commonplace in Africa, where leaders don't want to get out of office because they're interested in holding on to power. So in terms of mechanisms, I know we used to have a couple of peer review mechanisms in the past, but in terms of some mechanisms that Afford can give in terms of technical support, I'm just wondering what are the long-term plans for ensuring that leaders in Africa have a sense of quitting when the dawn, when the vision is loudest, for them to go and not sit down and cost the lives of innocent Africans to die just because of their selfish gain. So I don't know if there are programs oncoming or already existing initiatives on the part of Afford that would look into issues around institutional strengthening and what Obama says, not the strong men of Africa, but strong institutions that would deliver so that people don't hold on to power for too long a time.
There is no specific program by Afford to answer that very big questions. It's almost beyond my pay grade, as it were. But what we've been doing with the diaspora technical support is it's been led by demand. So you would then see that it's only governments or civil society in Africa that already know their mind and they're looking for specific support, who come to us and say, help us in this particular area. The main innovation being that we are finding Africans with the relevant expertise and skills to send them, rather than the perennial problem of getting mainstream sort of consultants who go to Africa, and sometimes their African partners are not happy as to the extent of their understanding of how things work. So that's what we've been doing, is less ambitious than sort of your question is suggesting. It just so happens that the Gambia one, because there's a change, and then you have a new government that, of course, is then looking for support. That then they look for support specifically on how to develop a reform program. But that is very specific to the situation in Gambia. But in terms of the bigger question, the only other comment I would make is that through our partnerships, AFOR have been working in partnership with the Mo Ibrahim Foundation.
Okay.
And attempt to create sort of
Jibril, can you say that again?
Answer.
Jibril, can you say that again?
Yes,
because after Mo Ibrahim, you disappeared.
Yes, I said AFOR has been working with the Mo Ibrahim Foundation. In fact, I myself had the good fortune of taking Mo and his board to Senegal in 2008 to launch the foundation. And I think that in the future, AFOR would do more work with the Mo Ibrahim Foundation in relation to what you've mentioned, institution building, so that even for current and future leaders, they have a life after government, a life after the presidency, or a life after being a cabinet minister, rather than feeling that they are stuck there. But that's we don't have a specific program, but I'm sure it's amongst people's contemplation. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Jibril. So Kofi Nkrumah, hello Kofi, welcome. Kofi is asking, he said that he missed the beginning of your presentation and is wondering whether you've mentioned the registration to the permanent office in Brussels. I don't know, yes, Jibril, whether you want to respond to him or should we?
Yes, and I've seen, I can also read, he's written the question. Yes, just a quick summary of that. The organization ADEPT has got a legal registration. We've received a royal decree from the Kingdom of Belgium, and all of that would be presented in the paperwork next week when we publish the advertisement for executive director. We have got an office in Belgium, but it's a small holding office, a desk effectively. We are now looking at two options for office space that would accommodate the full set of staff. As I said, the General Assembly or the annual general meeting will take place in June in Brussels. And so everything really is being lined up for middle of June to do the formal launch with a new elected board of trustees, an office fully functional in Brussels. And the services, as you know, are already being delivered. There is a handover period between the current staff based in London, who would, their time in the job will overlap with the new staff who would be based in Belgium.
Great, thank you, Jibril. Any other question? If your mic doesn't work, please feel free to write down your question in the chat box. Okay, so Ben has another question relating DFI. Ben, please go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Yes, Ayankachi, thanks for your briefing on the Diaspora Finance and investment initiative. I think it's quite interesting and something that loads of diaspora people will be interested in. I'm just trying to find out, I know I've had this conversation with Stella, so, but I'm trying to clarify again if startups would be accommodated, because I know quite a lot of diaspora people who have got loads of initiatives and they really don't have the means or the vehicle to translate such ideas into reality. So perhaps this might just be an opportunity for them. Then specifically on the match funding of 7.5 thousand pounds, is that physical cash or that could be asset equivalent?
Onikache, would you want to respond? Hello, Onikache. Can you? Okay, so Onikache, I think there's a problem with your mic, so maybe I'll let Effiong respond to it. Onikache, we can't hear you. Okay, so I think we've lost Onikache. He seems to be here, but we can't hear him. So I'll let Effiong respond.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't know what happened. I could hear you clearly. Let me deal with the second question first, Ben. Thanks for the question. The 7,500 needs to be physical cash. It's not going to be handed over to a Ford, but it needs to be in the bank account and part of the cash flow for the project, so that we see and that there is tangible evidence that the match funds exist and that they're going to be incorporated in the cash flow for the business plan that has been agreed upon for the successful participants. In terms of the first question around the startups, we are aware that many of the diaspora businesses are going to be startups. They're not being excluded from this round. However, it's important to point out that startups are notoriously risky. We know that in terms of the success of startups, even in the UK, you're looking at sometimes as many as 8 out of 10 failing. So it is much more likely that what will be selected as a result of the business planning competition are businesses where the concept has been proved and where they're looking to scale up and where, in other words, the risk has been reduced. We are looking at other rounds because the Afford Diaspora Finance initiative will be looking at other ways of supporting diaspora business initiatives in Africa and social enterprises, and there will be different rounds that in the future we hope will target startups, where we know then that these are going to be much more risky or will increase our appetite for risk in those areas, and then other rounds that will target women, other rounds that will target young people, and other rounds that will potentially target specific sectors that we feel need additional stimulation. So this is the beginning of what we intend to see as a much longer series of kind of interventions, and down the line, we hope in certain rounds where we will increase our appetite for risk. I hope that helps, Ben.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, thank you.
I think Effiong wants to add something to that. Can you hear Effiong? Hello?
No, I can't hear
Oh,
him.
you can't hear him.
No.
Okay. Okay, I'll just give him my headset then. Just 1 second.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Effiong Akpan here, Diaspora Enterprise Manager. Ben, I just wanted to add to what Onyekachi said, and that is that the diaspora startups are not left out because still under DFI, we have a program of support that we're going to be targeting diaspora startup, at least to build their capacity, and so that when we have another round, they will be well placed, well skilled, and to be able to participate. And not only that, to help them even without the business competition, and so that they can start and run their own businesses successfully. And that is why we have 3 consultants working with us, who is going to be basically supporting not only existing businesses, but startup businesses. And we've set up the Afford Business Club as an instrument to use in supporting startup businesses as well. I hope that answers you or contribute to answering your question, Ben.
Absolutely, Effiong, you are spot on there.
Thank you, Effiong. We have another question from Kofi regarding the move of ADEPT. Jibril, I don't know whether you can see Kofi's message, or should I read it to you?
Yes, I can see it. The agreement we've got is there would indeed be a new executive director, but I have agreed with the funders to remain as a special advisor for at least 1 whole year to help the new team, the whole new leadership settle in, as it were. I think that perhaps answers Kofi's question.
We have another question from Ben. How about DFI support for diaspora-led businesses in the United Kingdom? Onyekachi, would you want to respond to that?
Sorry, in what sense, Ben? DFI is there to support diaspora-led businesses in the UK. So I'm not sure if you could clarify further.
Yeah, okay. My understanding of this competition is the UK businesses that are interested in investment in the target countries you've just mentioned. Is that correct?
Yeah, but they need to be diaspora-led.
Yeah, so diaspora-led, but we're talking about diaspora-led businesses that are operating in the United Kingdom.
Oh, to invest in the UK.
Yes.
I think that's something that is very, very important, and I'm sure there are other organizations. You know, traditionally there's been a whole sector here that has tried to increase the impact of minority and other black businesses, and so there are others who are doing that work. We, however, focusing on, as part of Afford's mission, the diaspora and its impact in Africa, which is why we've decided to make the DFI fit that particular mission. and we have no plans to be looking at diaspora investments in the UK. What we will be doing is, as Effiong said, is really supporting them through the business club to build their capacity. We'll support them with business consultants to build their capacity. Some of that, if they then want to go ahead and invest in the UK, will be of benefit to that. But most of that support that we will be giving them is actually for them to make an impact in their countries of heritage or countries of interest in Africa.
Thank you. That's clear enough. Thank you.
Thanks. And we have another question from Inumidon. Sorry, apologize if I didn't pronounce your name correctly. So he's asking on startups generally, a quick question on startup generally as well. As an aspiring entrepreneur with Africa at the aim of business initiative interest, what support is offered by yourself generally in aspect of training and connecting generally, encouraging a new era of young aspirants to participate, get involved with African business initiatives from the UK, for example?
As part of the Afford Business Club, as Effiong said, we will be building the capacity of diaspora entrepreneurs, and we have actually, as part of the ABC, the Afford Business Club, given young entrepreneurs a special discount to become members, because we are very, very interested in that sector. And we're also talking to another funder at the moment about, and if that is successful, there will be a very specific under, is it 40 or 35, Stella? I think it's under 40.
It's under
round.
40, yes.
Yes, it's under 40 round that we will be running later on if we're successful with that proposal. So we are very interested in the young entrepreneurs of the future, and we really want to attract them to the Afford Business Club. As Effiong said, that is a place that they can come in and begin the process of us supporting them as early as possible, and then later on, if we're successful with the funding rounds, we can then target them specifically with grants and other kinds of loans and other kinds of investment that we would be looking at to stimulate that particular sector.
Okay, thank you, Onikachi. Toby Akintokun is asking, how young is young?
Well, if you go to my village in Nigeria, the 60-year-olds who pretend that they're youth. So we know that the African definition of youth is very elastic, but we tend generally to work within the framework of the African Union's definition, which has been, which is usually kind of 16 to 35. I just mentioned 40 because that particular funder was interested in under 40s.
Okay. There's another question from Sam, who's asking if there is any possibility to support other diaspora organizations in other countries like Spain, and if yes, what are the conditions?
Should I answer that?
Yes.
Yes, I was going to suggest you answer that in the framework of ADEPT, Jibril.
For the ADF that affords running, that's specifically for organizations in the UK. So that program will not be applicable for organizations in Spain. We've given an example of the OSIM program in France. Again, that's just for diaspora organizations in France. So the reason why we're having this webinar for the ADEPT network as well is to help two things. One, to see whether one can do advocacy in other European countries so that they have a similar program for diaspora organizations based in those countries. And for ADEPT itself, amongst the activities I would be helping the new executive director with is to try to create a Europe-wide and EU-wide diaspora grant fund. And that Diaspora Grant Fund, if we are successful, would be one that diaspora organizations from all the EU countries will be able to apply to. But as we speak now, that hasn't happened yet. Hopefully in the coming months we will be successful. Thank you.
Ben has another question, and that is for Jibril. How about afford and international development program management and implementation with Africans playing a leading role in international development using African diaspora-led expertise, example DFID, USAID, and other ODA programs?
Well, the medium and long-term aim of the pool of consultants we have is not only for them to do ADEPT or afford work, but to make it available to those development agencies. Because when you speak with some of them and you challenge them as to why they do not have diaspora consultants and experts, they tell you that they don't know where those experts are. So that is one of the reasons why ADEPT is creating this pool, so that it can share it with its partners, development partners. Additionally, ADEPT has also developed a diaspora fellowship scheme. This again targets young people 18 to 35 specifically, and it's a program whereby it's a competitive program whereby an advertisement goes out, young graduates, young people in their career would apply to become a diaspora fellow for 2 months or 3 months. We are pitching it at paying them 2,500 euros, which for a fellowship is a reasonable amount. And in the medium term, those diaspora fellows, we would place them with our development partners, be it DFID, USAID, and other organizations, the idea being that those diaspora would develop careers in the mainstream development agencies. So these are just 2 strategies that we have piloted through ADEPT, and in the coming months it would be expanded. Thank you.
We have another question from Toby, but we will cover it in the next presentation. So I think now we should move to the other part. So for any other organization that is not based in the UK, the second part might not be very relevant to you because it will go in detail on the DFI project and on the competition. So if you want to log off at this stage, you can do so, but if you want to stay and listen to the presentation, you are also very welcome to do so. But this second part will be very specific to the competition itself.
Haja,
yes?
So, sorry, I was just going to add that it's important that if they do have the potential for partnership with UK-based organizations, it may be worth while listening as well.
Okay.
They can apply
yes,
and have UK partners.
Okay.
And I was also going to add that criteria and how these processes work inevitably would be similar across different countries. So I think there's a lot of transferability. It would be useful if people can stay to hear what this particular scheme, what the criteria is. It would be very similar in other countries.
Kofi has another question, but Kofi, would you mind if we just go to the next presentation, because otherwise we won't have enough time, and because your question is very general, so is it okay if we respond to it in either a next webinar or in a conversation we'll have? Yes? Oh, thank you. Thank you. So I'll give my headset to Efyang now, and Efyang will take you through the DFI program very specifically. Just 1 second, I'll share my screen with you, Efyang. Just 1 second. Sorry, just 1 second.
Goodness. Yep. There's a problem there.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I can start.
Yeah, you can just start.
Okay, good afternoon to everybody again. Basically, I'm going to be talking about the implementation of DFI. But because of time, I'm going to go through this section very quickly. And then Stella will take you through how to complete the PQQ. Okay, can I also say that what I'm going to present is a summary of information already published on our website under the prospectus. And so basically, as part of the DFI, Ford has to design a vehicle for implementing the DFI program, and that is the business or Diaspora Enterprise Accelerator business planning competition. We're using this as a special purpose vehicle. The reason being that we want to give everybody the opportunity, every business the opportunity to compete and qualify for this program. And so Ford is investing initially £600,000. Okay, as Onyekachi mentioned previously, qualified, registered and African diaspora-led businesses in the United Kingdom will receive £30,000 each. And that will be matched with £7,500. Onyekachi has said that previously. And then what's the objectives of the business planning competition? Now, obviously, we're using the business planning competition to identify businesses that are ready for investment. That's businesses that are ready to go, businesses with the potential and viable ideas to do something in any of the four countries in Africa. And we're also using the business planning competition to identify viable and sustainable businesses. And also, we want to encourage African businesses in the diaspora to start to think in terms of using business planning as a culture, because a lot of business people feel that it's not really necessary to have a business plan. You don't need a business plan. And so we're hoping that from this competition, now whether you're successful or not, you're going to begin to see the need to think in terms of planning for your business. Because a business plan is basically a business compass. It guides you on how you can run your business logically, successfully, productively, and most importantly, should you want to raise external finance, any bank that you go to, you said you want to raise capital, they're going to ask you if you've got a business plan. And so we're hoping that this exercise will help you, and it will provide you with a platform to be attractive for either internal or external investments. And so what are the core business sectors that we're looking at for investment? First is agriculture, agri-based businesses. And second is education and training. And third is health and health services management. And then water, sanitation, hygiene. And then we're particularly interested, we want to encourage proposals aimed at establishing a small and medium scale manufacturing businesses. of course, distribution, retail, and hospitality, ICT, creative industry, food, energy, and power. Now, so how are we going to look at your business plan? What are the criteria we're going to use? Now, first and foremost, we encouraging businesses to come up with innovative ideas. And also what you're going to present is hopefully is going to target at problems. You have identified existing problem or problems in any of the 4 African countries that you think your business proposal is going to be able to tackle. And also you need to demonstrate that your proposal has a market viability. What that means is that there is demand for the product or services that you're going to produce. And then the third is you have to demonstrate that your business is going to be financially viable. And what we mean by financial viability, that not only cash flow projections, but in terms of income and expenditure, the amount of money that your business is going to be able to generate, and that you're going to make enough money not only to sustain the business, but also to think about investing for future expansion. And then there is the demonstration of management viability. It doesn't matter how great your business idea is. Now, it is important that people promoting such idea that they know what they're doing, and that is they can demonstrate skills and experience that they have behind. And so we look at that in terms of those promoting the business ideas or proposals, and also your partners that you're going to use, either you're forming the partnership from the United Kingdom or the partnership from any of the 4 African countries. And we want to see how the combination of what those proposing, what they have to offer, and also those that are going to be working with you. And then very, very important is one, employment and job creation and sustainability. Now, the whole idea behind what Afford is doing is really to promote employment creation, job creation, and sustainability in Africa. As you know, every year in Africa, we produce about 10 million graduates, and then at least 5 million graduates will remain unemployed. And so every business proposal that we're going to look at need to demonstrate the ability and the capacity to create a minimum of 10 sustainable jobs. And then there is issue with environmental awareness and sensitivity. Now we want your business proposal to recognize the impact of the environment in Africa. And it is unlikely that we're going to encourage any proposal that will ignore the impact of environment, or a proposal that is not sensitive to the need to protect African environment. And then evidence of positive action to encourage youth and women participation. So we expect that every proposal will demonstrate that they're going to make room or provision for young people and for women to participate. One, in terms of employing them, and also creating opportunity for them to develop and build their skills and capacity. And then there is evidence and plan to use technology, technology and social media. And so your proposal needs to demonstrate how you're going to apply new technology to improve productivity, business efficiency, and even bring about a business sustainability and eventually business expansion. And then the last point here is scalability and replicability. Now our proposal is going to show that, okay, maybe even before the lifetime of this project, 2 years, that you're able to scale up this business or you're able to replicate your idea somewhere else. Might be within the same country or outside the same country, but within Africa, that you're able to replicate your business idea or ideas. So what are the expected output? As I said before, the first and famous, that's mandatory. Outcome one is that every proposal, every plan must demonstrate your ability to create 10 quality jobs. And I'm probably going to say, what's the definition of quality jobs? Well, it's a type of job that automatically will give security to those that you have employed, and that you're going to be able to pay a minimum of, or the minimum wage in the country of operation. And also every person that you employ, that you're going to give a contract of employment, and basically no slave labor. And then the second one is to increase and more secure incomes and better working conditions and pay. And so we want you to basically fly the flag of being a good example in terms of providing better working conditions for and pay for those that you're going to employ. And then increase in economic activity and sustainable livelihood. And basically your business should be able to demonstrate that you'll be contributing to improving the local economic climate, or also impacting on the GDP of the country of operation. And then the third outcome, which is important, is how your business is going to impact or contribute to improving the ease of doing business index. In some countries, it's very difficult to set up. I'll give you a typical example. In Nigeria, the ease of doing business index is 169, I think, out of 183 countries. And I think in Zimbabwe it's 168. Rwanda got 59. And I think Sierra Leone got around about 167. And so hopefully we want to see how, what you're going to take to any of these, any of the 4 African countries will contribute to improving the way business is practiced, the way business is done. And when you think about in terms of somebody being able to get up, register a company and having access to government information and so on. And so we're hoping that your business will going to be able to impact on those positively. Okay, so what this grant can fund: staffing costs and other related operational costs, including rent and rate, office furniture, and general business overhead. And then basically, we cannot fund any activities outside the 4 targeted countries. Now, if you incur any expenditure before we said to you that you're successful, we would not be able to pick up those costs. You wouldn't be we wouldn't fund you for that. We would not fund you for the cost you incur in putting your application together. For example, the cost of completing your PQQ or the cost of doing your business plan. Okay. As I said to you, we're running a bit late, so I'm going to move on. I mean, you can find out additional information if you go on our website. But let's look at this area, the application process. Okay. The application process, basically we've done 6 roadshows, we've been consulting with partners. And then the next thing you need to do, because it's mandatory that you become a member of a Ford Business Club. Now that membership is not for nothing. It's to be able to give you access to quality business support, and even during the business planning process, and even after you've set up your business, we'll be able to give you access to further business support, business information, business opportunities, and so on. And so you will have support from UK and also in any of the other 4 countries, because we've got partners who will be working to support you in the other four countries. And then the next process is completing your pre-qualification questionnaire, and that forms part of stage 1 application process, and the closing date now is Friday, March the 10th. And then the result of the PQQ will be announced on 17th of March 2017. And hopefully if you're successful, we would then invite you to, as part of the stage 2, I will invite you to attend one of our business planning workshops that we're going to hold on the 29th and 30th of March. And then completion and submission of your business plan, that's stage 2. The deadline is going to be April 28th. And then hopefully the result will be announced on the 31st of May 2017. And then the next stage, that is due process, the grant process, will then begin. Okay, so what you need to do now, first you need to register with the Ford Business Club. You can find the application form on the website, okay? And so you can do that online and just click send, or if you're not comfortable doing that, now some have chosen to basically download the form and type the form and then send it to us. But I think you will spend less time if you're able to do it online and just click send. And then read the prospectus. Now contact one of our 3 business development consultants, or you can also contact me or Stella, who's going to be doing handling the next stage. And then complete your PQQ and submit your PQQ by the 10th of March 2017. And we're here to support you at all times, especially during the process of the business planning competition. And thank you. And I think what we're going to ask you to do, please, to hang on to your questions, and then Stella is going to start the next stage. And then after that, then you can ask any question that you have. Okay, thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Effiong. Aja, am I able to proceed? Okay. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Stella Opoka-Usu. I'm the Grants Program Manager for Ford. So what I'll do now is to take you through the pre-qualification questionnaire, and we will take all questions at the very end. And again, in the interest of time, I will try to go through it as quickly, but still trying to cover pretty much all the key points in the questionnaire. So as you can see on your screen, the first element of it is very straightforward. It's the business information, so the name of the business, the registered address, the postal code, the postal address, and then the contact details. So that's very straightforward. Now, the first important aspect to this is the eligibility questions, which pretty much determines if you are eligible to apply for the grant. So here we start off by asking you if you are a UK registered charity, a private limited company by guarantee, a community interest company, a charitable incorporated organization, or a Scottish charitable incorporated organization. So essentially, to be eligible, you have to be registered in the UK as any one of these entities. The second question relates to if your organization, if the majority of if your organization is majority African diaspora controlled. And in terms of the definition of this, essentially what we mean is that you must have a majority of your governing body or directors or trustees who define themselves as being of African heritage, who live in the UK, and irrespective of citizenship, retain emotional, financial, and cultural links with their country or the African continent. The third question there relates to the annual turnover of your organization. And this really is just to provide evidence that you are currently trading, and also it gives us a better understanding of the size of the business as well. Fourth question is around the bank account of the business. So is this in the same name as the business, and are the accounts up to date and compliant with UK banking and financial rules and regulations that relate to the registered entities? So for example, if you're a registered charity, you are required to have at least 2 people who are not related and who do not live at the same address to sign the checks and make withdrawals from your bank account, including a debit card or internet purchases and cash withdrawals. The fifth question, we ask if you are willing to become a member of the Afford Business Club. I think Ifyong's already covered this in detail in terms of why this is important, and basically because all the business development support will be delivered through the framework of the ABC in the process of applying as well as after the application process. And then we also ask you to supply 2 external references who are not linked to the business, who are able to validate your application. And then we ask the very obvious question, do you need up to £30,000 to deliver in any one of the four countries that we mentioned, Nigeria, Rwanda, Sierra Leone, or Zimbabwe? And then are you also able to match fund the minimum of £7,500? So we're happy if you can do more than that, but the minimum is £7,500. And then we also ask you which country you would like to expand your business into. And then on number 10, all those applying and to be eligible, you must deliver with your chosen partner on the ground in the country that you will be working in. And this can be your local partner, this can be beneficiary staff, they can be consultants or subcontractors, they can be local staff, but we would like you to let us know which one of these it will be. And then we also ask you if your organization is committed to contributing efforts aimed at tackling poverty and injustice in Africa, and if this is reflected in your project overview and content. And this is really to see that there is an alignment between our Afford Diaspora funds and the project or the business that you intend to support. And then the last eligibility question. Thank you. And then the last eligibility question is that if you are awarded the ADF grant, are you able to create 10 quality jobs in the chosen country within 24 months? So the grant period will be 24 months, and we would like to know that you will be able to create a minimum of 10 quality jobs. So those are the eligibility questions, and also to let you know that if you are successful through the first stage to the second stage and are selected as one of the 20, we will then at that stage be asking for documents to prove a lot of the questions that we've asked in the eligibility criteria. So now going on to the general questions, the first question asks, what is the nature of the problem that your business proposal intends to tackle? So that is very clear. And then the second question is, how did you identify the problem? So we would like to see a little bit of evidence in terms of how you identify the problem. And then we ask you if you have identified an achievable solution to the problem. And at this stage, we would like to think that the answer is yes, because then that enables you to proceed. And then we would like to know if there is a market for your proposed solutions. So we would like to know how you've identified this and if there is a market for this. And then we go on to ask you why you think you have the best business team to deliver these solutions. And here we are asking for the expertise of the team that you've chosen, the skills, the knowledge of the market, and so on. And then we also then would like to know who your competitors are, or the potential competitors. And it really is about understanding if you have done your own sort of research in understanding what the ecosystem looks like, and which are the similar businesses or organizations are out there within the ecosystem that you're going to be working in. And then we then ask you why you think you are best placed to deliver the solution. So after you've identified your competitors, what is your unique selling point? How is it different from the competitors? What is the added value? And that's what we would like to know in this question. And then on question 20, we then ask you what experience and skills do you have that will make the business expansion successful? And this is related very much to the organization that is applying. So at this point, we would like to know what experience and skills you bring to this and how you think you'll be able to deliver the idea that you are proposing. Question 21, have you identified business delivery partners? So this goes back to the question, the earlier question about working with your chosen partner on the ground. And here we would like you to provide their names and a profile, a very short profile. And we want to know how long you've known them. And question 23, we want to know what experience, expertise, and resources they will bring to the business. And then on question 24, how and when could you implement your proposed growth plan? We really want to know how you are going to deliver this idea and what the timelines are. The timelines over the 2 years, but I think we will also be looking beyond that as well, because the next questions that will follow are around scaling up. And then question 25, we want to know what is the estimated cost of implementing your business growth proposal, and if that is more than 37,500, how do you intend to raise the remaining capital? Then on to question 27, here how will you ensure that business expansion is sustainable beyond the 24 months? So we really want to understand the financial sustainability, the scaling up of the project, the impact it's going to make within the 24 months to be able to take it forward, and so on. And then on question 28, what plans do you and your business partners have for scaling up? So a bit more on the scaling up, just to provide us with a bit more understanding of how you think the business will scale up beyond the 24 months. And then we go on to ask you some questions around the risks as well. And at this stage, we would like you to identify the 3 main ones that you think you have identified in developing and implementing your business growth proposal. And what are your plans to mitigate these risks? And then our very final question is around what social and economic impacts do you anticipate your business will make in 24 months and beyond in the area and country of operation. So we want to understand beyond job creation, which is what we are asking for. We want to understand what other social impacts you're going to make. We want to understand what social problem your business will solve, and how this will look like over the grant period and beyond. And then the very end, once you're happy with all of it, we expect you to sign it, to date it, and then to email it through, preferably, to adf@afford-uk.org. You can also post it, but I think we would prefer an electronic version. And I think that's, I have gone through all the details now, so I think I will pass back to Haja to take questions. I'll pass back to Efyong. I think Efyong wants to make a point or two.
Thank you very much, Stella. Raja, I don't know whether it's the time for us to address some of the questions we got on the screen.
You have 35 minutes.
We have 35?
30 minutes.
Oh, 30 minutes. Yeah. I think the first question that I want us to address is extending the deadline. Ben, we have now extended the deadline twice. And because the program is running late, we feel that we're not going to be able to extend the deadline for a PQQ. Now, however, to help prospective applicants, we are available to support any applicant, anybody who wants to basically submit an application, so we'll be able to answer any question to support you to complete the PQQ. But if we were to extend the deadline, it will be detrimental to the progress of this program. Now, there is another question, I think, from Ben. An outcome one is challenging to achieve by SMEs. Okay. Sorry, okay. Yes, we know. But basically, the program, we don't expect any business to create all the 10 jobs right from the word go or when you start the business. And I think we're saying over the lifetime of the program, that is a 2-year period, that every business should be able to meet the 10 jobs. This is a mandatory requirement for the program. Okay, I think the fourth criteria, ease of doing business, typically require policy advocacy during the course of doing the business. How are you looking to assess this criteria in the funding process? Well, but basically our position is that going to start a business or expanding your business into any of the 4 countries, that a business should be able to make some degree of impact. I mean, this can be through networking. Your experience, if you're trying to register a business or looking for business information, you find it very difficult. By actually making it to be known to those responsible for decision making or for basically setting up these rules, you actually will be contributing to somebody knowing what is happening, how your business is being affected, and effectively doing something about it. The reason I can say that is that when we were implementing a program with the World Bank, I think it was in Kaduna, we had difficulties actually registering a business, okay? But because we reported to somebody who was in a position to take action, and I think something positive came out of it. And so they actually improved in the process of registering a business. And so I'm hoping that a business should be able to make that sort of impact. And I don't know, Stella, do you have something to add to that? Okay. The quality job submission is 2 weeks. Okay. 2 weeks window will be a minimum, please. Okay, Ben, can I also mention that we actually started this since January 6th, we started it. Okay, we've advertised the program, and we've actually done about 6 road shows. We've done 4 road shows outside London and 2 road shows in London. And so this program has, the competition has been widely publicized. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Another one. Okay, yeah, are the business development consultant offering free support to applicants, free or paid for by applicants? No, the business support is free of charge. Okay, from beginning to end, you'll not be asked to contribute a penny. Okay, Toby, just to clarify, if the business is incorporated in Africa, then the parent company should be here. Okay, for a start, only businesses registered or incorporated in the United Kingdom will qualify. Okay, now it might well be that you want to, or we also expect that if you're starting a new business in any of the 4 countries, that you're going to register. Okay, and so we expect you to have a legal recognition, a legal status for the business that you're going to be running in any of the 4 African countries. I think Stella has something to add.
Yes, I just wanted to add, just to clarify. Just to clarify the question, Toby, around if the business is incorporated in Africa, the parent company should be here in the UK. I think as Effiong was saying, yes, absolutely. We expect that the business or the company that is applying is registered in the UK. But of course, one of the criteria is that you must be working with a local partner or with an extension of yourselves, staff, and so on. When it comes to the due diligence process, we will not only be asking for documents to prove your own legal status in the UK, but we will also be asking for an MOU with a local partner, some sort of legal, registration of the local partner as well. So just thought I would add that in there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Stella, for that. There is another question from Peter Ntende. Now, is there some form of non-disclosure agreement signed by a Ford for the business idea? This is absolutely important. And yes, the answer is yes. We will do everything to protect your business ideas. And so the third party would not be able to have access to your business ideas, okay? Ben, please clarify if companies limited by shares can apply. The answer is yes, but what we would expect that you will have an asset lock, okay, because this is a public money. And also that the program that you're going to deliver will have a great deal of social content, yeah? Social content. For example, if you're going to use a company limited by shares here, now, and you're operating in any of the 4 countries, we expect you to have a register of assets, and that's one, and also registered NGO, okay, as a platform for, yeah, a platform for actually implementing, or it could be a social enterprise, okay, it could be a social enterprise module. Stella?
Just to add to that, yes, you would need to have an asset lock procedure in place, but I think we are really encouraging those who are interested to register in one of the other formats. You can register as a company by guarantee in 24 hours, I think. essentially because even though there is the provision for having an asset lock procedure, there may be a few hoops to jump through, and that is essentially because through our own funding, so this program is being funded through the Common Ground Initiative, which is supported by Comic Relief and DFID, and there may be a number of hoops to jump through with regards to that. So we would actually encourage businesses that are interested to apply and to register as a company by guarantee.
Business development consult. Okay, sorry, I'm trying looking to answer tackling another question for that's ADEPT. So then, okay, is there other questions? Because I think we've answered all the questions that have been raised.
Yes, I've got a question for you.
Okay, please.
Yes, all of it seems very formal, very structured, and almost strict. What is the justification for this approach?
Okay, the justification for the approach is in terms of sustainability. So the business that is going to start, the business that is going to be implemented is sustainable. And I think the starting point is really the process that is being applied. Now, if the process is wobbly, and then it might give rise to basically picking up businesses that may not be able to deliver. And so we know that delivering 10 jobs really is a big task. But then if you've got a proper process in place, then we'll be able to pick up only those businesses that are established, credible, that will be able to deliver what is required. Hello?
And I think, yes, and I think you've mentioned that for applicants who need support to meet this criteria, AFFORD is able to help them.
That's right. We're going to help every single applicant, and we are already spending a great deal of time with them at the moment because we want everybody to have access to apply for the grants. Everybody who qualifies, or every qualified business.
Okay.
I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other question?
Yes, please. Just to follow up with Gabriel's point or other question. It's looking at what Stella has presented in terms of the form itself. It appears this is for scale up, not for startups. For people
That's correct.
who already, yeah. So it's like this is for scale up. So it's going to be pretty challenging for startups to meet some of these criteria or meet some of these conditions. So we're just looking in terms of hands-on support. When is the next round due so that people can start preparing? If, for instance, we start speaking, because there are loads of diaspora community connected with the Chivnin, which is also the DFID, sorry, not DFID, the Foreign and Commonwealth Office scholarship program. There are lots of professionals within the UK who might be interested, but okay. I'm pretty sure that quite a lot of them are not aware of this. And for them, for such people who have some brilliant ideas, a 10-day window from now is a bit of a challenge, as it were. So we'll probably need to know when the next round is going to be coming up so people can start preparing well ahead of time, just in case some people are not able to meet this initial deadline.
Okay.
Just an appeal.
Okay, is that Ben? Is that Ben?
Sorry?
Is that Ben?
Yeah,
Are you
this is
Ben?
Ben.
Okay. Thank you
Yes, please.
thank you for your question. I think the way, first of all, the way the program was set up, and I think from the funders' point of view, yeah, they're trying to encourage, in the first instance, now businesses that are alive now, businesses that are trading, okay, to think in terms of going to invest in any of those 4 countries. Now this is just a platform that is being provided, is an incentive, okay, for established businesses to basically up their games, going up over there to set up. And so it wasn't originally intended for startup businesses. However, as I said to you, now Afford is well aware of the demand in terms of a startup within the African diaspora communities. And that is why we're going to develop a portfolio of business support services that will support startup businesses or potential startup to get them ready, not only in terms of accessing future grants, but also to be able, if they want to launch their businesses, they can do that. And that will include helping them to identify other sources of actually assessing a business startup funding or business expansion funds. In terms of when the next program is going to be, maybe Stella will be able to throw some more light on that. But we're working on a number of schemes, and so I don't think we're able to give you the exact time frame because it depends on organizations that are prepared to work in partnership with Afford to provide the funding. I think Stella might be able to clarify more on this.
Yeah, so just to add to that is to say that, I mean, at this stage, as we said, the deadline is the 10th of March, so we do indeed have just over 10 days to the close. Other people who are interested, as Ifeanyi was mentioning, the Afford Business Club is there for them to join and to receive the support that we think the businesses need and to make them investor ready and to introduce them to other potential funders and investors. But in addition to that, in terms of another grant, we are looking to leverage this DFI program and this grant at the moment, and we're hoping that in the future we will be able to make new rounds that are either sector specific or focus, say, on young people and so on. So that's what we're doing at the moment. And perhaps just to give you a little bit of a background, this is our 5th grant that we are running at the moment. We had a grant for Ethiopia last year, which was very similar to this and gave out £25,000, also with 20% from the diaspora. So we've sort of grown our grants from when we started a few years ago with £10,000 basically to 600,000, and so what we're looking to do is to build that up even more so that we can support, you know, different countries, different sectors. We can support women entrepreneurs, young people, and so on. So that's sort of where we are with this at the moment.
Hello everyone. I just want to ask something. So first of all, Toby, regarding your question on the recording, yes, this recording will be available, so we will publish it on the website that you can see at the moment, www.afford-diasporafinance.org. So we will publish this recording on the website, on Twitter, on our Afford account on Twitter, which is Afford-UK, and then on Facebook as well, and on LinkedIn. So the video will be available to share if you want to use it to sort of, if you're planning to apply and you want to go back to some of the questions or some of the specification, that it will be there. That's why we're holding this webinar. As Ifeanyi mentioned, we hold several events regarding the program. So this webinar was to provide additional support. So Ben, it would be available to share. So if you know any organization that you think might be this program might be relevant to, I will publish it hopefully tomorrow, and please share it. Please share it with everyone you think would be relevant to. This will be relevant to. I think 10 days. It's difficult, but it's doable. If as you said, the form is very simple. So it will be available. Ben, I've just seen your message. It might be very heavy to share by email, so that's why I would suggest you come to the website. I can try to do it, but sometimes those videos are too heavy. So if it's not too heavy, I will send it to you. But if it is, please check the website and please check all our social media accounts and our LinkedIn account, because we will be updating a lot of content in the next few weeks and months. So I think if you want to be updated in addition to the newsletter, you will have all the info there. So please follow all our accounts to be updated. So maybe I'll give my headset to Effiong if there's any additional questions. So we have about 10 minutes more. So if you have any additional question, please either send a message on the chat box, or if your mic is working, just ask the question. I'll give the headset to Effiong.
Hello, everybody. Any other question?
Yes, a final one, Effiong. I don't know if it's Effiong or Onyekachi. I did ask the question earlier on to Gabriel, and he tried answering it. But the point I was trying to make is afford being positioned to be able to get sort of leverage the pool of consultants, pool of consultants who are mostly African diasporans to be able to implement international development programs. So the same way this sort of program is coming from Comic Relief and funding from DFID and all of that funding regime. The point I'm trying to make is that on the longer term, it will be worthwhile to see how international development programs can be managed and implemented by diaspora Africans, both here and in the continent of Africa. That is a longer term aspiration, and I think AFFORD should sort of be positioned in such a way that with close collaboration, network with local partners within the United Kingdom, they should be able to run such programs without this export of foreign expertise to Africa, claiming full expertise when, as a matter of fact, it is still the locals that are still being used to implement some of these programs. So that's the question I was trying to, that's the perspective I was looking at.
Ben, thank you very much, and I hear you. We are going to be meeting to take some of these issues further, and I would really welcome the discussion with you on how to do that.
Thanks. Yeah.
Any other?
Hello?
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 Sorry? Hello everyone, I'm sharing, as you can see at the moment, this is our Facebook page, AFFORD African Foundation for Development. This is our Twitter page. So please, please, please follow for the latest updates. We will of course send any updates via our newsletter, but just in case you are not, you can also register. You can also register through the DFI website here. So just subscribe here. And also on our LinkedIn page, so it's afford-UK. I think someone else wanted to speak. Onikachi, did you want to add something?
No, I'm fine. I was just clearing my throat. Sorry.
So yeah, so these are everything will be there via newsletter, a website, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're kind of covering every medium of communication. So if you want any update, if you have a question, you have our email address as well. So it's dfi@afford-uk.org. Don't hesitate to send any email if you have any more questions. So if there's no other question, we will close the webinar. Is there any other question? No. Okay, so thank you everyone for... Okay, sorry, Nikechi.
No, before you thanked everybody, I just wanted to thank everybody for attending this webinar. And as you said, please pass on through your networks the links. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so thank you to our speakers, Jibril Fal, Onikachi Wambu, Efyang Akpan, Stella Opukosu Owusu. Thank you everyone, and we will organize another webinar on the 8th of March on International Women's Day. So we have a line of great speakers. You will receive the update very soon via our newsletter. So we will be speaking about different issues, and we'll be talking mainly about entrepreneurship, women entrepreneurship in the diaspora and in Africa. So please pay attention to our newsletters and updates. So it will be great to have you. Even if you're not a woman, so it's not only meant for women, just as a disclaimer, we'll be talking about entrepreneurship, but just giving a bit more visibility to women entrepreneurs on the continent and in the diaspora. Thank you everyone, and we will close the webinar now. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Bye.
you very much, Haja.
Thank you, Haja.
Thanks, Haja.
Haja, thank you very much for sitting.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.